Well, welcome back. It's nice to see you again. I hope you had a nice little break where you got to get some blood flowing to the toes, because there's nothing like DVT on a Saturday afternoon, hey? I don't even wear stockings, so DVT is not even my friend. Hey, who's had a good day so far? Now, keep your hand up. Who's actually been here for 2 days? Man, power to you. Hey, you know that right up, if you all turn around just and look up that way, right up the very, very far back, you see there's two fellas dressed, or three actually, there they are. They have been making all the lights work, all the sound work, all of that work. Can you just say a massive thank you to those fellas, please? Because they've actually done a lot of work. And the reason we stick them right up there is because if you saw their faces, the good thing is they can turn this off at any moment. See? There you go. Hey, I'm going to introduce you Chris Wenban. Chris is representing Tiny House Australia. Tiny houses. I can't get it.
Tiny House Association.
I don't have anything. I'm making it up. Anyway, Chris has got a really good snapshot and update for you about how tiny houses are looking across the place. So thanks, Chris. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for turning up early to the Bryce Langston presentation. For getting your seat. I know that's why you're here. I'm not going to stand behind this lectern because clearly no one's going to be able to see me, so I'll kind of hover around here. I did this presentation yesterday. Sorry to those people who were here yesterday. You'll hear some different stuff. I'll try and make the jokes a little bit different. And I don't have a script, so it will be different anyway. I'm from the Australian Tiny House Association. So we're an incorporated association that we started at the beginning of last year. And the reason that we started it was we realised there's a huge amount of energy in the tiny house movement in Australia at the moment. So just a quick question. Put your hands up if you would like to make living in tiny houses legal, easier and more affordable. Under the lights, yes. Keep your hand up if you have a mobile phone, a smartphone on you. Right, okay, put your hands down. Now, I will refer to everybody with their hands up a little bit later. That was a very trick question, so you've just got yourself into a whole lot of work. As I said, my name's Chris Wenban. The reason I'm interested in tiny houses is not only because I'm the president of the Australian Tiny House Association, which is the best title I've ever had, but I'm also a tiny house dweller. And this is my tiny house. This is the Mayflower. I actually live in that house down in Victoria, in Kinglake, about an hour north of Melbourne. And I will actually soon be moving my tiny house up to an eco-village about an hour north of Sydney. So that's going to be quite exciting. So all yesterday's talk about eco-villages was very interesting to me because I'm just about to embark on that journey a little bit myself. I'm also a co-founder of a tiny house building company called Tiny Footprint. And we're just loving talking to people and helping them sort of build the tiny house that they have in their dreams. The purposes of the association, which and the reason we put it together is because we realise that there's a lot of information out there about building tiny, living tiny, where you put your tiny house, but it's not very centralised. Some of it's quite opinion-based, and there are a lot of opinions in the tiny house movement. And what we want to do is really gather together the information that's legitimate, that comes from good sources, and make it available for everybody in the Tiny House Association. We are actually making general information available to everybody, so if you do go to our website, I'll put it up later, anyone can see that, and we'll be doing a lot more information, hopefully, as well, for just members, as we corral the network of people that we've got as members, like ESC Consulting, Valerie and Ricky, who've got great skills in the planning space as well. And we want to really promote the tiny house movement to people. There have been, I think it was Valerie had a few pictures up earlier about tiny houses that didn't look very positive. We really want to promote to people that this is actually a very good way of living, an alternative way of living perhaps, but it really does work for some people. And to collaborate with different members who have particular skills and other government agencies and associations to ensure that we're actually promoting and enabling people to live tiny if they so wish. We are a membership, so I am kind of plugging membership here, so my non-altruistic intent is that by the time you've left this room, everyone's signed up for association membership. And as well as networking amongst all of the different members and knowing who those different members are, and being able to sort of support your events. If you're running an event as a member, like Jimmy was for this, I quite happily come along and support an event like this. But we're also hoping to do things like, if you're a DIY builder and you're building your own tiny house, that we have suppliers who'll give discounts to our members, and so from a financial perspective, there'll be an incentive there as well. So definitely I think there are great advantages of joining the association, but at the moment it's very much showing everybody that we really care about the tiny house movement, and that we know that there's a lot of change that needs to take place, especially in regulation, for people to be able to live tiny, and then join us and support us, and if there are enough of us, then everybody's going to be able to ride this wave. So if you want to join, please go to our website, which I will put up. It's a very simple process. You just sign on the dotted line. It is $50 a year to join, and that really just covers our basic costs. And added to that, if you would like to help, please help, because I'm at the moment the person behind the website and a lot of the different things. Then volunteer your skills, be it building out the website, doing social media, writing articles about something that you're skilled in. Anything that can help us really get the word out there. So we are trying to build this up as a bit of a movement to corral all those great organisations that are doing things and connect them together, and to be able to address state regulation, council regulation as one, as an association, which surprisingly has a better effect than everybody as an individual going by yourselves. So feel free to take a picture of the online resources we have there. There are leaflets out up at the top desk as well, so please pick up one of those. It's got all of our social media up there as well. And I'll put this back up at the end. So in terms of what I've been doing, I've actually been doing a lot of travelling around the country. I have been to events in Perth, so I've actually gone and listened to City of Fremantle talking about what they're doing with their Frio alternative, which is tiny houses on foundation, and how they're looking at that can be added into their planning scheme. City of Kalamunda in Perth is actually looking at tiny houses on wheels, that they're again looking to add into the schemes as well. We've had an event in Adelaide. I was actually at the event in Nambour in last October. There's going to be a tiny house event, the Bendigo Festival down in Victoria, if you've heard of that. And so, there's a lot of groundswell of activity going on, and certainly, going around and connecting people, even in the sort of the different areas, such as the dwellers, connecting them with each other. We've got a lot of not-for-profit organisations looking at things like tiny houses for homelessness, Tiny Homes Foundation in New South Wales, which has got basically a template for people to go out and build tiny house villages for the homeless, connecting them to other people who are looking at doing that. There's Transition Village Wallen in Victoria, which is again doing a tiny village for the homeless there. So there's a lot of people doing things, and in some ways, just going around and seeing what they're doing, we're able to connect those people and make sure they don't have to reinvent the wheel. One of the more interesting things is also talking to the government departments, who are very open, surprisingly open in different places. So we've talked to the Department of Housing in South Australia, Department of Planning there as well. Valerie from ESC Consulting came out to talk to them. So it's a very positive thing that state-level government, as well as individual local councils, are not just reacting to people coming to them, but realising that this is something they have to address. So many people are going down this path for affordability reasons, for lifestyle reasons, for family reasons, that if they don't address it, then we'll all be a long way ahead of them. So it's great to see there's some proactivity there. And hopefully over time, we can see every state having the same rules and regulations around tinies and having a pathway that councils can use, that they can use their checklist to go through and make the tick in the box, and then you as an individual, if you want to live in a tiny, or you want to help a family member, or if you want to have a business that includes tiny houses, that's something that's easier for you to do. So, apart from membership, my other big plug here today is the association survey. So, hands up again if you put up your hand, you said you wanted to help and you have a mobile phone. Hands up. Thank you. You can now go to this survey, so you just need to go to our website. I've put it in big letters saying, click here to answer survey. It's going to be really easy for you. There are about 53 questions, depending on what your criteria are, whether you're a dweller or a builder or somebody just connected to the community. There will be a different number of questions, so it's not War and Peace. And what we're trying to do is get as much real information as possible. We're going to kind of turn that into a report, turn that into some statistics, which when we heard Sandy speaking earlier, when we heard Valerie speaking earlier, when we heard Richard speaking earlier, they all said you have to have statistics to make people believe stuff. This will be our statistics. It'll talk about what's the demographic of a tiny house dweller, what age are they, what sex are they, how much did it cost for them to build their tiny house or buy their tiny house, how long did it take them to build their tiny house. A whole load of stuff. The most interesting, of course, is that dogs are the most popular pet in tiny houses. So if you are a cat owner and you reject that view of the world, you need to get onto the survey and you need to fill in the survey and say that you like cats. So this survey is going to run until 31st of March. At that point, we'll cut it off. I've actually had today, thank goodness, Heather Shearer from Griffith University put her hand up as a volunteer, thank you, volunteer, to crunch some of the data. And then we'll get a report out to you. This, hopefully, then will be something that we can give to the media so they can be accurately reporting. Because, to be honest, I get asked a lot, how many tiny houses are there in Australia? And I just say 200, because it sounds like a really nice number. But we just don't know. So far, we've had, to date, 270 responses, 74 of which are tiny house dwellers, which I think is interesting. And one of the stats here, it's really quite small, but this is the age one. So the demographic who live in tiny houses are from 51 years to 69 years old, and that's the largest demographic, which is, to be honest, not unsurprising, but the fact that we can try and get some data, we'd love to get 1,000 surveys done. So if you can go to, and I will swing back, if you go to the website, click on that. You can do it on your mobile phone. I've tested it. It's possible. So you can actually do it before you leave here today. It will take you less than 15 minutes. Can I have a hand up for everybody who's going to do that, please? Thank you. Right. My job is now done. Join the association. Do the survey. Thank you.
Nice work, Chris. So yeah, really good to come and talk to Chris, and she'll continue to give you a good insight into what's happening around the country in more depth. If you've got a particular question, hit her up. I'm sure she's got an answer for you. No, Colin?
Oh, please.
Yeah, mate. Okay. Because you're wearing a yellow shirt.
Oh, thank you very much. The question for me at the moment is how many people here have actually completed the survey?
How many people here?
That's just so you can put your hand in the air, Colin.
Well, actually, I've done the survey
Twice.
Oh, right.
Well done. Thank you, all those people who have. There's a very large number of people who haven't. But I will just expect that's because you didn't know about it.
Yeah.
That will be rectified by the end of the day.
They're very nice people.
By the end of the day.
I can
You know,
tell.
in that really boring presentation that's just about to happen now, that really nobody really wants to see.
Yeah.
I reckon just get your phones out.
I'd sit there on your phone doing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.